Hey y'all, this is Sai, and as of last Thursday, well, yeah, not last Thursday, it's this Thursday, I am 3 weeks post-op. Woohoo! Yay! Which makes me really excited. Um, Things have been moving. Sorry, I'm like reading the notes that I wrote on my phone, because I forget everything. Maybe I should put my pants up. Yeah, I still wear Hollister undies, so what? Um, some really great things. I still have to keep dressing my nipples. Um, the right one has all basically the scab has come completely off, which is cool. It's just like really tender and has oddly now when I walk around sometimes it's like started to hurt. I think it's part of like that like oh I'm healing and like sensation is coming back and like yesterday I felt it on my walk. It was really weird. The left one still has a little tiny bit of a scab and is still kind of like super tender and raw. So I'm still kind of dressing them just because I don't think that it's completely done in that process yet. I figure I probably have like another week or so left of dressing my nipples still, um, which was fine. I'm like not too worried about it. Like, it just is going to be what it is, and so far it's pretty good. My scars are kind of decent. I have started putting cocoa butter on them, at least for the time being. Dr. Johnson said don't start scar treatment because you're still like healing for the first 4 to 6 weeks. So at my follow-up visit, then we'll kind of start talking scar treatment. And I'm being pretty conservative about it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like I don't want to like do too much, and so some folks are saying like you could put stay strips on. I might kind of play it safe, wait another week, and see if I start doing treatment. But in the meantime, I'm just doing cocoa butter. Most of the scabs are come off. There's still these two pieces of tape, and then there's the one on this side um, that is kind of just like sticking around. I'm like, well, who knows? They'll start to come off in the shower, which is kind of cool. I can raise my arms to about my shoulders, and this is pretty much it. Oh yeah, hey, Pete, my tattoo. Which is fine with me. I can like kind of reach. I can't do a whole lot further than this right now, which is fine because it starts to pull right here. Um, but that's okay. I am of course still trying to do too much than I should, which is but I'm like listening to my body a little bit more. I think I was trying to do a whole lot of stuff in the kitchen the other day and wound up being in pain. And I had been wearing those like cute bando tops because I didn't have to wear the Velcro binder, and I've kind of switched back to it for the time being, just because I'm home and like I know that like I am like running around and like doing things for my parents, well, because I can't do half the things, um, and so I just like needed the extra support and compression. And the other night it was pretty swollen, and so like I just like want to keep that things healing pretty good. I started driving. Driving is cool. I kind of drive like an old man because I can't really do any of these like fun gestures a whole lot because things are just like a lot of it is just like muscle stiffness because I have like basically been like walking around like a zombie for the last couple of days, so like my upper body is really stiff, so we're still kind of just like I basically drive like this on the steering wheel, which is kind of hilarious, but it's not too bad. I'm pretty sure that like I'll probably be able to like get some more of this back later. I've started walking, so when I got home, I've been getting up in the morning and going walking for anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour, just depending on like the loop that I take, just to get like moving again because I have been going stir crazy, and it's been like super bad. So today I did about an hour, and I just like walked down to the lake that was right by my parents' house, and then walked back, which was like not too bad. But I plan on doing that at least for like the rest of the time I'm here slash while I'm on vacation, and then when I go back to school, I might start going back to the gym, and see if I can't get like a good week of running in and seeing how that feels and all sorts of good stuff. I'm like really into like my little belly fuzz patch that's like right here, so I'm just gonna keep doing that, and y'all are just gonna deal. Um, as far as like family stuff goes, so my dad knows. My brother didn't know when he got here, but he like quickly found out and was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Can't move, can't reach my hands over my head. Like this is basically all I got." I told my grandma, because she went to like hit me in the chest, and I like backed away, and she's like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Oh, I just had surgery." Like I kind of, and she's like, "What'd you do?" And I was like, and like literally like it was a conversation. She was like, "Oh, well, do you feel good?" And I was like, "Yeah, I feel great." She's like, "Well, then that's good. I'm glad you're happy." And so she kind of just has like my mom was like really terrified, like how she was gonna react. I'm like, no, Graham's been pretty chill about this whole thing, and even if she has opinions or things, she has figured out that if she doesn't tell me what she thinks about that, then I like don't have any feelings or problems against her, and I'm like, or like hard feelings. And I think a lot of that like maybe might be like her just changing the way she thinks about things, or if not, just like realizing that like I'm her grandkid, and like she's seen the way that like I've reacted to other family members say things to me, and like, and it's not good because I just don't respond well. So I'm like, she's got it. I'm just like really thankful that my grandmother has it because she's by far my favorite of the family members. Although what was really interesting is I got my Christmas card from my grandfather, and in the card that he writes, he basically was like, "You're my one shot. You're my only shot, and I'm like rooting for you in your corner." And it was just like a really nice message to like hear from my grandfather and just be like, in some ways I've like, for him, like it's been a big deal because he's like not super great with the whole queer thing. I didn't know how he was going to take the trans thing. It's kind of weird for him. Although I feel like his brain kind of functions as like, oh, my kid's not gay. My kid is trans and therefore a boy, so everything's fine. So he's kind of like, and in that respect, he like, and I'm making this huge generalization, but he's like got the grandkid that like is doing all of the things as far as like going to college and going to grad school and like getting a job and doing work. So he's been really supportive in that way. Just in that way, or an ideology, and this is a huge assumption. So it was really, but it was, anyways, it was just like really nice to get that affirmation from my grandfather, especially since like being home is a super traumatic place for me. And so to get those affirmations both from my grandfather and my grandmother was just like really great because like from my parents it's just kind of weird. They're still holding on to their little kid, and all that other good stuff. So yeah, that was really interesting to kind of experience over Christmas. For some folks, it's just been like, oh, I just had surgery, whatever, and like, don't just kind of leave it at that. Flying post-op surgery. That was a thing that I was like really worried about doing. So I can't pick up my suitcase, which of course I like brought 2 weeks worth of clothes because I'm me and I need options. And so I wound up just like ease of convenience, and because I get tired really easily, which is something that I'm like slowly working on. I wound up getting a wheelchair to get me to and from the gates and the baggage claim because I couldn't really walk too fast. I can't carry my backpack, and so I was getting pushed around the airport during like my time there, and so like I went through security and I had to get a pat down because I was like, I can't put my hands higher than this. This is like all I got, so they had to give me a pat down. And that was really interesting. And I always get like, now I get a male assist, which is fine. I'm like, great, that's totally cool. At least it's not a female assist. And that wasn't too invasive. It was actually pretty nice. It was just really interesting treatment to like be in a wheelchair and people just like awkwardly staring at me and being like, what is wrong with this guy? He looks normal. What's wrong? And then telling like flight, I'm like, I can't carry my bag, so you kind of have to do it, and all sorts of other stuff. And that was just really weird. And then everything was fine on my first flight. I flew first class, which was like my like treat to myself for the holidays, which was cool. I don't know if I'm going to do it again, because quite honestly, while I liked the, like, you got lunch and you got free drinks and like those were things that were cool, I like actually didn't really need that. And dinner was like mediocre. And I kind of like didn't really require a whole lot on an airport. Like I brought a book, brought my headphones, good to go. So, well, it was fun. Maybe a nice splurge every once in a while if I'm going super far, but not again. But what was really interesting is on my first flight, because I had a connecting flight, the flight attendant was super great about like helping me. I was like, I just had surgery. I can't move my hand. She's like, do you need anything? Do you need an extra blanket? Super helpful, but great first class flight attendant, or just a great flight attendant in general. Second flight, which was the longer one from Charlotte to California, the flight attendants basically forgot about me, that I was on the plane. In part because my seatmate was the super obnoxious, like, Californian white dude bro. But he wasn't from California, he's from New York. I, like, got his whole life story. But they treated him like he was basically complaining the entire flight, so they just trying to stay away from our entire row, which was fine. But it was just really interesting because I needed a wheelchair to get off the plane because I needed the help carrying my bag, and they just kind of forgot, and I was like standing there and like, and then they finally walked over and they're like, do you need something? I'm like, yeah, I have a wheelchair. This is a thing, you're supposed to call for chairs. And it was just like bad. It was this really interesting flight to have that experience. And then she was like, "You have a wheelchair?" And I was like, "Yes, I have a wheelchair." Like, you don't know what I could need a wheelchair for. But it was like, and actually, quite frankly, I was really glad that I had gotten one because like moving around across the airports are pretty big. In San Diego, and to get from where the gate was to the baggage claim, I like was exhausted. It was late. I was, running on like West Coast time, East Coast time to the West Coast. I was like done. And just my body was really tired because I didn't really like pressure changes in the cabin and like got really swollen. It was really painful towards the end. So by the end of my flight, I was actually in a little bit of pain, which was like shitty. But yeah, that was my flight. Let's see. Any other changes aside from changing? No, dressing nipples, all that other good stuff. Yeah, basically that's been 3 weeks. Oh, also Thursday was my 17-month on testosterone, which is great. Body changes, basically. This is kind of starting to fill out. I think also it happened because of top surgery. She did some, because my scars pulled up. She said she pulled out some of the fat that was there, which is, I was like, cool, great, thank you. So dog years may happen. They might might not happen. We're still kind of just waiting for swelling to go down. But like my shape has kind of just gotten like wider, so to speak. I've gotten a little bit wider. What's really interesting is I haven't worked out since before top surgery, and I've still kept similar shoulder muscle definition. I'm hairy now. I shaved this morning, but like basically can grow like a decent pre-beard, post 5 o'clock shadow business on my face. Let's see. Basically treatment is fine. I am pretty much male passing, which is just weird, and like I have to navigate that every day, and it's just like a really interesting experience to be navigating what people assume me to be a dude is, and how that masculinity is right encoded, especially in a lot of places. It is very different being back on the West Coast than on the East Coast, and it's like surprisingly, I feel like more, and a lot of it has to do with like aesthetics and dress, and it's like here I want to wear less layers and just like kind of be whatever, and because of like the binder, it's kind of hard to like not see that, which is weird, but also just like I've been home for a couple of days. I haven't been mispronounced once, even when people see my ID card, like that's a thing. And then being in New England, and it was like a thing that happened. Although like still on like a semi-regular basis, it was really weird. But for the most part, I feel pretty good about gendery things and like making some new plans. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it as far as like top surgery and like T updates go. I'm still on androgel. I'm still basically a bear cub in training. This is pretty much it. Oh god, this is so awful. I probably should have refolded those. I'm staying in my sister's room, at least, or I was when my brother was home in the house, and I was not in my usual room, so I'm staying in my sister's room, and like her room was just like a mess, so I had to like refold everything and put it on the bookshelf, because my sister has no books. Bookshelf, but no books, just clothes. I'm not even going to say anything more about that. But yeah, so that's been my 13 minutes talking about myself. I'll probably make another update next week. I might not think of it because it's New Year's. So maybe we'll make one when I get back to Massachusetts. Who knows? All right, catch y'all later. Bye.